What's going on, Doug? Got another Facebook user saying hello. How is it tonight? Am I slow? Everything going all right? Can you hear me? What we got here? Rick Stellerman, good to see you, bud. Well, I'm glad everything sounds good, looks good on your guys' end because I don't know if all you guys know or not, but we had severe storms come through here a week ago Thursday and completely demolished my property. Thank goodness the house is still here. But my internet speed right now tells me that I shouldn't even be doing this. So I've been freaking out all afternoon, wondering if I'm going to have to go outside to try to get cell service or if it's going to be fast enough to do this. So hopefully we keep going here. If for some reason it does shut down, I'll run outside to the picnic table, get on my phone, because down here in the studio, I don't get any cell service. But this Wi-Fi is very slow tonight because of all the storms. Are still having trouble trying to get everything back together. Thank goodness we got power. Jason Buell, good to see you on here, bud. A few people pop on here and we'll start this thing off. This Wi-Fi has been going in and out all over the place. Doug, I know, at least I decided to get on tonight. I hear you, bud. Make sure we got everything here we need. We're going to do a lot of talking about annual plots. I'll tell you that. My phone, man, everybody's got the itch. A lot of these people are starting to get rain, including myself. Everybody is going crazy right now. Both phones are blowing up. Marketing group put phone number on Facebook, and now it's really blowing up. Mike, good to see you on here. How's Browntown, Indiana treating you? Scuba Steve, old Scuba's on here. I haven't got an order from Scuba yet. What's going on, Scuba? You got to be getting ready to plant before too long. Actually, I'm waiting for your breakfast. It's about time. I'm heading to Nashville here in a couple of weeks. I'm actually leaving for Ohio day after tomorrow. I got to go up there and give some seminars, and then I got a show to do for 2 days, and then I come back and I head to Nashville for 3 days. So, Scuba, you and Brian just well hop in the truck, head to Nashville. You can cook me breakfast. Just finishing up the little thing. I had a bunch of questions come in here today for people that can't pop on here. In Ohio, I'll be in the show is in MacArthur, and is it Baltic, Ohio, I think it's called, is where I'm doing the seminar. So the evening there in Baltic, and then I got set up. The show starts Friday at 4 in the afternoon, run it till like 8 o'clock that night, and then it's all day Saturday, and I'm out of there. So they're in Baltic. No, hold on a minute. Let me get you all different here. Baltic is where my show is at. MacArthur is where the seminar is at. Sorry about that. I got way too many things going on right here. Way too many. And there's a Wisconsin trip in between both of them, so it's nuts right now. I appreciate that, Doug. You'll hate me if I start sending all these questions your way. I'm telling you right now, I'm probably at over 100 calls today on 2 phones, and that's not including the 100 and some emails I got, and Messenger, and Facebook, and the internet, website. It's nuts. I'm so tired, the dog's laying down here asleep snoring. I'm telling you. Rick, I know that Real King is carrying the Southern Greens. So Real King in Harrisburg and Real King in Marion down there should have it. Now their big distribution order just went out, so they're getting ready to put their fall event together. So it's better if you, I would call ahead, don't make a trip, but they will be carrying it. Now I hear you, Doug. All right, guys, I think we're gonna get this thing fired up while I do have internet, and I hope I keep it the rest of the time. Mike's getting ready to go fishing. Mike White, man, I've been fishing. Me and Stacy went fishing the last 2 nights, and this evening is a beautiful evening. And I wish we could go, but I'm here with you guys, so I can't complain. And I got a dog walking all over this place trying to figure out what he's doing. But all right, we're talking about annuals. Let's get together with the annuals. Probably not. Let's talk annuals as in what to plant, when to plant. We talk about it all the time, and we're just going to talk about it a little bit more. So when it comes to a good annual mix, we're going to look at a mix. Let's say honey hole. Honey hole's a mix that everybody knows Antler King from. I mean, if you talk Antler King, you know honey hole, you know trophy deer mineral, you know trophy clover mix. Them are the three right there that really got this company. They are the ones that got it started. They got it going. So, but a lot of people think, well, we know it by honey hole, let's plant honey hole. A lot of people don't realize that honey hole is a late season only food source. You will get a little bit of the deer coming in and eating early season, but it is a late season food source. So if that's what you're wanting, you can't beat honey hole. Now you're wanting more of an all season mix that you're going to have early season, late season, even some mid season in there. You know, you're looking at a mix such as the Grade 8. You're looking at Slam Dunk, Fall, Winter, Spring, Lights Out. Their mixes there, the new Southern Greens. The Southern Greens, guys, I'm telling you what, Rick just brought it up here. Southern Greens is one of my new favorite mixes. Now, if I only had a 1/4 acre food plot and that's the only thing I could plant, I wouldn't plant it because the deer will wipe it out. That Southern Greens is designed where everything except the radishes in there, the deer will start eating as soon as it starts growing. The radishes, yeah, they're going to let them grow up. They're going to eat some tops off of them. But you have a lot of late season food there. But if you're looking for a small acre plot, let's just say a 1/4 acre, you know, half acre, let's just go half acre. You know, I'd get more into like that Fall, Winter, Spring, the Slam Dunk, Grade 8, something like that. But now, if you have multiple plots and you want a heck of a good kill plot, that Southern Green, you cannot beat it. I started out with an acre. I went to 3 acres last year. This year, I'm going almost 4 acres. I mean, I love it that much. I'm actually taking some clover out to plant more Southern Greens. Now, the only reason I'm taking this clover out, and people hear me and they call me, why are you taking all your clover out? Guys, I have a lot of clover, a bunch. Now, with my one property that I hunt the most, I have a bunch of clover on it that, or a bunch of hay fields around the area. But right on my field, I have a 12-acre field on my property. That's 40-acre property, 12 acres of it's a field. The deer come across out of an old man's thicket, come across my field. They come into my food plots. Well, instead of running agriculture in here, he took it away a few years ago and he went with grass hay. Then he incorporated a couple of years ago some forage clover into it. Without anybody knowing, somebody might have overseeded a whole bunch of it with some trophy clover. I don't know who that would have been. Somebody may have done that. So now I have 12 acres of clover to the deer's disposal right there. So that's given me the chance where I can cut back because I'll never go without clover on my property. Because except for last year, about every buck I've killed and does I've killed has been in clover, no matter if it's been in October, November, December, January. I've killed them in clover. Last year, well, actually, let's see here. Both bucks I shot, 2 does I shot, and 2 turkeys came off Southern Greens. So, and the turkeys came in the spring of the year because that Southern Greens, that winter wheat and everything comes back, and you got a great plot there too. So, but now I plant a bunch of it. I love it. On my properties, if people ask me what will you plant, I'll always have trophy clover. I'll always have southern greens now, and I will never ever have a hunting property without honey hole and slam dunk mixed together. Never. That is by far my favorite go-to for early season all the way to the latest of late season is honey hole and slam dunk mixed together. When I mix them together, ration them out, you're given that plot the exact amount of seed it needs, or maybe a little lighter. I never go heavy. So you always want to make sure you ration them out. But I will never ever go heavy on them plots, and I will never go without honey hole and slam dunk on one of mine. Mark Coleman, good to see you on here, bud. But since I'm rambling on, back to honey hole. Again, honey hole is a late season food source. You cannot beat that mix. You cannot for a late season food source. So again, slam dunk, fall, winter, spring, grade 8, lights out, southern greens. You know, them right there are going to be a great annual mix that you can plant for an all season food. Your trophy clover, your Booner Buffet, game changer clover, no sweat. Uh, you know, all them are great too. But the bad thing about when you get into, if you haven't planted your Booner Buffet, your trophy clover, your game changer clover, if you didn't plant it in the spring and you're planting on a fall planting, you will notice there that you won't get the growth that you should. So you make sure if you're wanting to plan on having all the growth you can out of them perennials for a fall plot, make sure you plant them in the spring. So planting them in the fall is a great way to establish that plot in a less weedier environment uh, to get it ready for the next year. But you just don't have a whole lot of forage there that first year. But if you are looking for something to plant just for a late season, let's go with honey hole. Look at all of our other products. If you're wanting a mid-season, everything up here is a mid-season plot. The honey hole back here, that's going to be your late season. The grade 8, you know, we hear a lot of people talk about Real World's Deadly Dozen. That grade 8 right there will wipe it out. I mean, it's amazing what that grade 8 does. It'll blow it away. So believe it or not, I've tested them myself. Side by side comparison. I will never call out another mix on social media, but I will tell you guys here what I have done. But it's nothing I'm doing to make anything else look worse. That mix, Deadly Dozen, great mix, really good mix. But I really liked how the grade 8 performed better than I did it. And I did everything the same. pH, fertilizer, side by side, same amount of rain. I really, really liked it. So if you're planting something like that and you're thinking, man, I'd like to switch to something a little different, maybe with Antler King, if you like that Deadly Dozen, the grade 8 is one you want to go with. So you don't have to worry about trying to mix a whole bunch of stuff together or buy a couple different bags. You buy it all in one bag. It's ready to go. The percentages are right. So you don't have to worry about plants starving each other out, competing with each other. It's already done. It took us 4 years to get that mix right before we put it on the market. It's good to go. So, let's see here. While I'm rambling, guys, I apologize. What mix grows best in a plot that gets little sunlight? If you're looking for an annual, Marty, what kind of little sunlight we talking about? We talking it could get up to 4 hours of sun? We talking it's only getting 2 hours or what? Because you get into that real low sunlight, the no sweat mix is designed for that. Our game changer clover mix is designed for that. Now you get in more of that 4 hours of sunlight, you can really get in there and you can get there's a few different ones really. The southern greens is actually growing pretty well in a low light. The slam dunk grows pretty well in low light. The honey hole actually grows well in that 4 hours of sunlight. Now the more sun you give it, the better off that plant's going to be. The more forage you're going to get, the more tonnage. So, but they will grow in it. Now you take a low light area, and you take Booner Buffet, you take Trophy Clover, won't do it. They just will not perform well in a low light area. Darren Briggs, good to see you, bud. Is it too late to fertilize for fall plots? What is the cheapest fertilizer used right now? Darren, it's never too late. Man, there is no such thing as a cheap fertilizer anymore. I just had a talk with a guy about that in Kansas today, that theirs there in Kansas went up like 3 times the amount from last year. So, oh, depending on your soil, but if you haven't taken a soil sample to see what kind of nutrients your soil has in, you definitely need to get with something. And it's going to depend if you're doing an annual, you're looking at a nitrogen-based fertilizer somewhere in that triple 13 to triple 19. If you're looking at a perennial, you're looking more towards the potash, which is a lot cheaper. If you can find out what kind of nutrients you have, and you got a good nutrients base already, you can go with our Jolt fertilizer or liquid fertilizer. $30 is doing 2 acres. So I mean that's a very inexpensive way to do it. But you're definitely, if you don't know what you have there, I would definitely get some granular down, like a 13, triple 13, triple 19. And it's going to scare you when I tell you this, but you're pretty much looking on a lot of these plots. You're looking about 300 pounds per acre of like a triple 19. Some plots you're looking more into that 100 pounds per quarter acre. So it just depends on what we're dealing with and what we're planting. All right, we got a Facebook user saying, "Evening, boss." I don't know who you are. I apologize, but it's saying Facebook user. So good evening, guy. I appreciate you being on here. I'm just looking up here, guys. Let's make sure that I'm getting everything here. Marty, you said it's in a wooded area that only gets a few hours of direct sunlight. Go with that no sweat mix. That no sweat. If you're looking for a fall planting this year to draw the deer in for the fall, go with that no sweat. If you're wanting to plant something this fall as a perennial that's going to come back for about 4 years and get a good established plot going by planting it this fall, go with our Game Changer clover. So you get a good 4 years of growth out of that. But the no sweat here will jump up, give you a lot of forage for this fall, and then it's done. Except it does have a very little bit of clover in it. You'll get a little clover come back next year, but not a lot. See if I'm missing anybody else. I apologize, guys. You guys are rolling through here. I just don't want to miss anybody. I see Doug Lamb. I appreciate you getting on here and talking to a few people here. Yeah, Doug, fall, winter, spring is one of them blends that I didn't think it could ever get better than what it used to be for so many years. And then a few years ago, we added the tubular radishes to it, and it just really made that mix go crazy. You're looking at a mix that has peas in it. It has buckwheat. It's got radishes in it. I mean, cereal rye in it. It's got all that in it. You just cannot beat that mix. So, I mean, to me, it is a very good one, especially that cereal rye is going to come back the next spring and give you about a 30% protein rate. So you cannot beat that out of a fall planting. Danny Robinson, I started spraying and prepping plots last week for honey hole and slam dunk. Yeah, you got that right, buddy. Danny, how you doing on here, Danny? But yeah, Danny Robinson, you're right on it, man. I can't wait. I got a lot of road trips here in the next 3 weeks, but after I get done with them, get back from Nashville show, I'm gonna be hitting her pretty hard. Scuba Steve loves the grade 8. That grade 8, you cannot beat that either. Like I said, I was talking earlier, it's just got 8 different varieties that's going to mature out at different times. So you're going to have something fresh growing at all times in that plot. Charlie, don't you know I'm on the computer? They don't want to see you. You just stay down there. But you got a 100-pound white lab that just, he feels like I'm not giving enough attention, guys. Make sure we didn't get nothing else here. Jeff Johnson is the Facebook user, one of my pro staff guys. Jeff Johnson, it's good to see you on here, bud. So, but no, let's get back to these annuals. Again, we already spoke about them, talked about them. Gentleman here came up with a great thing talking about fertilizer. when it comes to these annual mixes, you've got to use the proper fertilizer. You got to do that pH test, guys. I'm telling you right now, that pH test kit right there, that will make or break that plot. Not a sales, it's not a sales pitch. It's just the gospel. So get that pH tested, get it up. I know it's hard to do it right now because if you didn't already know, because it's so late, but if you're going to be planting fall plots, get that pH tested about 3 months prior, get that lime on the ground, get that lime in there breaking down. Lime is not an instant thing. It takes time to break down and get going. So make sure you get that lime down. Fertilizer, looking at this triple 19, that is by far my favorite when it comes to any of these annual mixes. Now, when you get into working your ground, stuff like that, I had the calls today about it. What do I do? Do I put the fertilizer on the ground? Do I work it in? Do I put it on after I plant, before I plant? I put mine in as I'm working the ground up. I always want to work my fertilizer in the ground when I'm disking or tilling, whichever one I'm doing. And number one reason is a lot of people don't realize nitrogen will actually evaporate. So you lay that nitrogen fertilizer on the ground, you don't get the rain to dissolve it into the soil. It will evaporate and you'll lose your nitrogen, a lot of it. So working that into the ground is only going to benefit. So work it into that soil, you'll be doing great. Benny Robinson, he's doing great. Like to get started early and make sure that I'm getting a clean start. Just used one of those pH test kits last week for a customer, and he was blown away on how easy and fast it was. Danny, that just made me think about it. Why don't we just show them? For anybody that don't know, this pH test kit right here for 15 bucks. It will do 4 plots for 15 bucks. As you can tell, this one's used, but you have your litmus strips in here. All you got to do with this kit, and it's all right here in these instructions, you need this kit and you need some distilled water. You have to use distilled water because it's the only water that has a neutral pH. So using distilled water, you go around, I like getting, if this is my plot right here, I'll take a little tiny shovel sample out of all 4 corners, one right dead in the center, mix them together. I always use a Quick Magic bucket, easy to go, mix them together, take an 8-ounce sample out of it of dirt, pour it in a container, take 8 ounces of distilled water, pour it in there, stir it up, and it turn into like a slurry. Do not drink it, it tastes like crap. Wait 10 minutes, dip your strip in, pull it out, check it on your sheet there. It's going to tell you what your pH is. It's going to tell you how many tons of ag lime you need to put on to build that up to your desired rate. If you want to use pelleted lime, it's only 1/10 of the amount that it's recording on there. So it's that easy. You know your pH within, let's just say 20 minutes. By the time you get your shovel out of your truck, you get it mixed up, mix everything together, wait your 10 minutes, and within that 20 minutes, you know exactly how much lime you have to put on that plot to get up to the level that you want. Facebook user, with so little rain so far this summer, how often can you spray clover fuel, and how long after you mow it do you spray it? When you're still getting moisture and your plants aren't in that dormant stage, you can apply clover fuel as much as you want. That clover will only benefit. It will not burn that plant up. That liquid potash will just benefit that clover. Now, if you get in a situation like I was for 3 months this year, I had absolutely no rain, not a drop. All the clovers went dormant. They were that tall, just stayed that way the whole time until we finally just started getting rains down with these storms we had. When that clover is dormant, that fertilizer is not going to do anything to that clover, because that clover, it adheres to that clover, sucks it into the root system. That's how it happens. If that clover is dormant, it's not going to do that. So I personally, if you're not getting any rain and you're in a drought, as in no rain, clover's dormant, you can tell. Usually you tell because it'll be flowered out and it'll be about that tall, or it'll just start shriveling down. That tells you it's dormant. Don't worry about the clover fuel till your rain's coming back in. Then you can get on there and you can actually get in there and start spraying them. Now, if you're getting rains, like I just spoke with a gentleman earlier today, they're getting a lot of rain, but they're also getting a lot of heat. And they're getting up in 100-degree weather during the day. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, beating down 100 degrees. You get in areas like that, or even if you're not getting much rain, but you're still getting some and that plant's still in its growing state, stay away from spraying that clover fuel in the dead heat of the day. Spray it early in the morning or late in the evening with the dew on. So you get a lot better results that way. Don't spray it on that scalding hot plant. It's better to do it with the dew on it morning or evening. And it says, how long after you mow it do you spray? Again, with it being a foliar fertilizer, it needs to adhere to that plant, so it depends on how low you cut it. If you're only cutting it down to 6 to 8 inches, you can spray it that day. If you're cutting it down lower, like I sometimes do, and I don't recommend, but we dealt with that and talked about that before, and we talked about it again some other time if we want. If I'm mowing it down real low, I'll wait till that plant starts growing back again and getting more leaf on it, so we'll have something to adhere to. But if you're cutting it down and leaving 6 to 8 inches of growth, you got plenty of plant there for it to adhere to, and you're good to go. Checking out here real quick, guys. Brenda Bell, my aunt's on here. I cannot believe that, all the way from Scottsville, Kentucky. I'm telling you. Aunt Brunel, I'm sorry, Aunt Brenda. Aunt Brenda, I hope Aunt Brunel is doing okay. I love you both. All right, guys. Well, what we got here, let's get talking about our Plot Max. I preach it and I preach it and I preach it. Plot Max is not a pH enhancer. I've had this call probably 10 times today. It's not a pH enhancer. It will spike the pH. So if you're using it on these annual plots or your perennial plots, it will spike them a little bit. It's very, very short-lived. Raise that pH up, get out there and get you some ag lime, pelleted lime, something like that. The soil conditioner is actually, that Plot Max is a soil conditioner of humic acid that is actually going to help break down that soil. So don't be using it solely for a pH enhancer, because it's not meant for that, and it will not work as that. I mean, it will spike it, but you go back in a week later and it's back down. It's just because the acid that's in it's what's spiking it. So the Plot Max, the Jolt fertilizer, that's the two you want for the annuals. The clover fuel, that's what you're looking at for your clovers, your alfalfas, your peas, your soybeans, stuff like that. I get a lot of people that get confused on, I shouldn't really say confused. They've used the Jolt for so many years that they didn't realize that we have the clover fuel, or they didn't know there was a difference in it. So the clover fuel is for them perennial legume plants, where the Jolt is for the annuals. So the clover fuel is a non-nitrogen based, that the clovers, alfalfas, peas, soybeans do not need that nitrogen. That's why we're putting them on it. We're not feeding the weeds and grasses that way. Where the Jolt needs the nitrogen, the annual plants need the nitrogen, that's what the Jolt has with it. You got the nitrogen there with the Jolt. So, Brian Murray, is it better to till the soil before planting, or should I just mow really short, spread seed, then cul-de-pack? Brian, a nice weed-free, grass-free, any kind of debris plot that you can work up, I highly recommend you working the plot up. And some of your mixes, like the honey hole, you can kind of get by with more of a kill the area off, plant it like a no-till, but I'm not a big fan of it. The only time I normally do that is if I'm planting in standing beans or standing corn. I'll broadcast into it, let Mother Nature set it, but usually I work on pretty soft soil. So I would definitely want to get in there, and you only need to work up the first top couple inches. All you need to do is just rough that top up, call the packet, broadcast your seed, and call the packet again. Always call the pack first prior to planting if you work that soil up and break it loose. Mark Coleman. Mark's from Indiana. He's asking, is it too late to get barricade in the ground? If so, how's the best way to, If so, how's the best way? I guess it is. If you can't, how's the best way to store it for next year? Mark, it depends on where you're at. You know, here where we're at here in Illinois, Indiana, where you're at, you get up into Wisconsin, you're getting too late. You're not going to get the growth out of it that you really want. You'll get growth, but you might not get your full potential, the 8 foot growth or even taller using a bunch of fertilizer. Uh, you get down the southern part, you get down, let's say, southern Kentucky and down, you got plenty of time to plant. Plenty. But up in here, I'd kind of shy away from it. Even though on the bag we have August on there, that is for the southern states. I actually planted I planted barricade when I was testing it the first year. I can't remember how long that's been now. 4 years ago? I can't remember. Five, four. Um, I didn't get the first bag until the 12th of August, I think it was, 11th or 12th. I got it recorded up there in another room. And I went straight out, worked the ground, fertilized it, planted it. But I poured the fertilizer to it, especially the Jolt liquid fertilizer we have. It loves that Jolt. And I had 11 foot of growth by October 1st. But that year, we got rain like every week. You couldn't ask for a better growing season. So that's going to be key. Yes, me and you could plant it right now if we knew we were going to get the moisture. If we start losing this moisture, we'll never get the full 8 foot out of it. But to answer your question on storing it for next year, any seed you have, the barricade, anything I got on this wall right here, if you seal the bag up, you put it in an area where it's not going to draw moisture. You don't want it. You don't want it out in your garage where it's going to be 100 degrees in the sun, and then that night it's going to drop down to 40. You don't want that. It's going to draw moisture. It's going to rot the seed. You're done. Get it in an area where you can store it. I store mine here in the basement here, and more of a controlled temperature there, a controlled climate where it's not going to draw moisture, and it's good to go, bud. Actually, while we're talking about barricade, I know it's not on with our annual mixes, but I'm just going to bring this up before I come to picking out the right annual for your property. I don't know how many of you looked at online. Been about a month ago. I think it was June 5th, I think. I posted a barricade plot of mine that was not growing because we haven't had a drop of rain in months. Supposed to got rain that night, never got it and never received it. That was on May 8th, I think it was May 8th when I planted. June 5th, we still never had no rain. I took that picture, put it on there, so I was going to follow up, which I did last night, I think it was, with some pictures. June 28th, with them storms we finally got dumped on with some rain, and I got some growth out of it. The reason I put that online is because I've had so many people this year call up, some concerned, some complaining about barricade. I planted a month ago, it's not growing. How much rain did you get? Well, we got about a tenth or two when we planted it, and maybe a tenth of an inch, 3 weeks later. That's not enough to get that going. You got to get some good rain on that to get a good germination rate. That's why I posted that on there, so people can see that seed will lay there dormant in the ground. I had so many people so far this year get in there and wait 3 weeks or so, and they do it with clover too, not realizing it takes 3 to 4 months or 3 or 4 weeks to get that really to emerge out of the ground. They'll wait a couple weeks and they go out there and they'll till it over because they think that it has bad seed. It's not bad seed. It's just Mother Nature not treating us the way we need to be treated. And so that's the deal with it. But that's why I did that on that barricade, just so anybody knows. Charlie, go way down. That's enough. So, all right, let's go choosing the proper mix for your property. And I've talked about this before, and I'm going to talk about it again. The proper mix is going to depend on the size of your food plot. And when it comes to the size of your food plot, I don't care if you have, I had a guy call me yesterday, and he's like, I don't even really want to talk to you because my plot's only 10 foot long 10 foot wide by 100 foot long. I don't care. It's a food plot. So there's no such thing as too small of a plot. So I don't care if you have the littlest plot ever, or if you're dealing with acres. That's going to depend on what you plant. So let's go with, let's just say you have a half-acre plot on your property. No, let's go quarter acre. There's a lot of guys that carry them quarter acre plots. Let's go quarter acre plot. You got that quarter acre plot, and you're going to go in there and you're going to plant. Man, I see Antler King has honey hole. That's what everybody talks about. I'm planting honey hole. Well, you only got late season food, and you don't have very much of it with a quarter acre. And I see they're planting slam dunk. I'm gonna plant slam dunk. You got all season food, but you don't have a lot because it's quarter acre. When them deer eat that mix down, it don't continue growing. It is going to actually be done. So what you need to do is look at something, let's say our fall, winter, spring. Fall, winter, spring has cereal rye in it. The cereal rye, the more the deer eat, the more it's going to grow. The cereal rye is also in the grade 8 too. So you'll always have something growing throughout that growing season. So go with something like that fall, winter, spring, the grade 8, straight cereal rye, anything like that, or 1 pound packages, anything like that is going to work great for you, that you're going to have something that's going to continue coming back as the deer eating it down. And with the cereal rye, it's a soil builder. So it's actually going to build that soil and build the nitrogen level up in that soil to help you out as well. So always pick something that's actually going to benefit you and the deer. They're not just going to eat it down in October and come November when you're really wanting to hunt that rut, you don't have nothing there. So you get up in them acres of plots, you can just start planting like your honey hole, your slam dunk. You'll have a bigger area that will feed more deer than that little quarter acre plot will. Brian's on here. When is the best time to plant honey hole? Put tile on the field behind me. Give permission to plant the food plot on their property and hunt it. I'm thinking the honey hole with the barricade line on the outside of the honey hole will give the deer the feeling of protection. Your thoughts? Actually, the barricade is going to make them deer feel safe. The honey hole is going to give you a lot of tonnage of food with the proper size plot. With honey hole, Brian, pop on here and tell me where you're from. Where you want to plant this at? What state, bud? Are you here close or north, south? Where you at? That's really going to depend on when you plant that honey hole. Like here where I'm at here in Illinois, Central Illinois, I'm planting it August 1st to August 15th. That's my go-to time. Michigan. Brian, you can start planting at any time. Actually, the honey hole, I would try my best to get that planted by the 1st of August, and that's going to be late for you. I look into that second to third week of July. So I know they're putting tile in. You can't do it now. If you think they can have it done by August 1st, I would still plant it. But if not by August 1st, I would look at more like our lights out blend, which is going to have the turnips in it too, but it's going to have the oats and everything with it. Or I'd look at our fall, winter, spring, which is going to have the tubular radishes, but it's going to have the cereal rye and all that. Them two there you can plant later and have a lot better success than planting like the honey hole too late. So I would go with fall, winter, spring, or lights out if you can't plant it by August 1st. If you can plant it by August 1st, use the honey hole. Mark Coleman found out his Booner Buffet bag is not mouse proof. What a mess it was on the floor. No, they're not mouse proof, bud. Nope. I found the best thing for seed bags is if you ever look at a bag of seed, you got perforated holes in them. Ours does. There's a reason for that. These seeds are a living organism, enzyme, so they have to breathe. So you start looking at products that is completely sealed up tight, them seeds can't breathe. So the shelf life gets shorter and shorter and shorter on them. These seeds have to breathe. That's why these bags will sink down on you, because they got holes in them to let that seed breathe. They have to have that to keep that seed fresh. So what I will do, I'll put my bags, I'll stand them up in a plastic tote, which I got one right over here. a plastic tote. I'll stand them up where they're not laying on each other, stand them up, and I'll take a 3/16 drill bit and the lid of that tote, and I make about 50 holes in the top of that tote so them seeds can breathe. So that's how I keep my seed fresh in my basement. So, but yeah, them holes mean more than what people think. Let me look, see what I'm missing here, guys. We're flying right through this here, and you guys have been pro staffers on here helping out a lot. I appreciate that very much. I'm just glad we got to do this tonight. I was worried to death that we weren't going to be able to with internet such a. Ron, your seat to be on the way, bud. I just happened to roll back up here and see this. Just happened to see it, bud. Ron's actually another one that I've been working with. Had issues with some barricades this year, and we still haven't figured out what the deal is with it. Just kind of we don't know. It sounds like he had plenty of moisture. Sound like he did everything right. From what me and him talked about, it's just very odd on how sometimes something does that. I mean, I've had it happen with seed mixes before in certain soils, but I've never had an issue with barricade. Never. I mean, hell, it'd grow out here in the rocks if you spill it out back of your truck. Yeah, Mark, them totes like that with the holes drilled in it, putting your seed in it is the best way to do it. And it keeps some ice out of it. You can do it with your blocks, all that. But with the blocks, you don't need to drill the holes in, but just keep the mice and stuff away. Them little cheap plastic totes work great. All right, before I start rambling on, guys, if you have anything else you want to talk about before we got to get off here in about 10, 12 minutes, I'm more than happy to answer any questions I can. And I can talk about a few other things here too, real quick. I've been getting asked a lot here lately on a lot of stores not carrying product. The good thing about it is, Brian, I appreciate that very much, bud. I appreciate you jumping on here. Need anything, give me a holler, man. The big thing is we got Rural King stores, we got Blaine's Farm and Fleet, Tractor Supply. Them stores there really upped the ante this year, and they're bringing in a whole bunch more product. Now, as you've probably seen in these stores, they're not carrying product year round as much as they were. They're keeping it till it sells out and it's gone on all their hunting products, deer hunting related. So TSC is going out now, which is, I can't remember how many semi loads we're on right now, 30, 40, I can't remember how many. It's unbelievable amount of seed that goes to TSC, full tractor trailer loads. But our Blaine's Farm and Fleet, they're getting all their stuff in. They're pretty much stocked. Rural Kings are getting ready to start putting their fall set up. So you're going to see a lot more products in them stores there. And if you're ever looking for product and you can't find it, get on our dealer locate, type in your zip code on our website at antlerking.com, and you will find all the dealers in your area. Danny, his barricade laid dormant almost a month. This year, 90, where'd it go? And 90-degree temps. Exactly right, Danny. This barricade will lay there for months until it gets what it needs to germinate and go. So that's why I put mine on there on Facebook, just to show I planted the 8th. I didn't have a sprout come up till the 28th. I planted the 8th of May. I did not have one sprout come up till the 28th of June. And now I'm that tall. You know, we just got to wait, not get premature and tear the plots up. Just let her go, and she will come in. Doug Lamb, time for demos. It sounds like he's going to go have some fun tonight. Mark's asking, do you have to mow any of your annual plots? And what will happen if your brother does mow it? Well, bud, if it's in its growing state, you're good. You're good to go. If it's in the growing state, it continue growing. Now, if your plant matures out and it's there for the season and you mow it, it's done. It will not grow back again. But early right now, it's in a growing state. It'll continue growing. Now, like the no sweat, I actually, if I got it in a big enough area where the deer aren't eating it down, I will actually mow that plot. I like mowing my no sweat, keeping it mowed down. It grows up thicker, better. Barricade got a half an inch of rain the night I planned it. No rain for 7 to 8 weeks. A couple quarter-inch rains in 3 weeks. Later, it's 24 inches tall. Exactly right, bud. Yep. Yeah, it'll grow like wildfire now. As soon as it emerges out of the ground, it takes a while, but as soon as it does, it'll go crazy. A lot of these mixes we work with, like I talked about earlier, the Barricade, especially the Booner Buffet, the Trophy Clover, they grow such a deep root system that literally these two clover and alfalfa mixes right here, you're looking at 3 to 4 weeks with very good moisture before they start emerging out of the ground. So you just got to give it time, let it do its thing, and hope Mother Nature treats us right. All right, let me look here and see what I'm missing here, guys, before I start jabbering some more. I appreciate you guys all being on here, man. What is our best-selling annual mix? Honey hole. It has been for 30. Hold on a minute. Let me think here. This is the 31st, 31 years. 31 years, Honey Hole has been here, and it's been our #1 selling year for every one of them 31 years. Yep. You cannot beat that mix for a late season food source, or mix them with a early to mid season. You'll have all season long. You cannot beat it. There is not a mix on this anywhere in the industry that can compare with Honey Hole. I don't think so. And I have tested a bunch of them. I tell everybody, and you guys heard me say it before, if Antler King called me right now and fired me, that Trophy Deer Mineral, Honey Hole, Slam Dunk, Trophy Clover, and Clover Fuel, I plan them and use that product every year. That's my go-tos right there. You'll never see me have a property without it, and you'll never see me go consult with any customers and not get them to plant it. It'd be in their property. So. Jim Moore, seems to be a lot of different opinions on when and how often to mow clover. What's your thoughts? Jim, you're probably talking to the biggest diehard clover guy in the world. I'm a clover nut. I love clover. It's my favorite thing in the world. It kind of makes me sick when I listen to everybody argue online about mowing clover. But I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do here. The reason you mow clover is because that clover matures out. And when that clover matures out, it's at its lowest protein rate and it's least digestible. So what you're wanting to do is turn that mix back around. So you take that clover, when it flowers out, it's matured out, you take the tops off that plant. It will turn it from the lowest protein and the least digestible, it'll turn around to the highest protein and the most digestible. So, and you're helping with weed and grass control. It's making the clover healthier. If you look at a clover that just sits there, matured out with that flower, it's just a little tiny short plant or a tall plant, and it just starts shriveling down because it's in its dormant stage. It's matured. It's not going to do nothing. So when you cut that and turn it back to life again, that's when it grows. It's healthier. The tonnage is more. The plant's sweeter, higher in protein, more palatable. So you only have to mow clover when it flowers if you're using it for a feed like this. Now, I personally, I mow my clover a lot more than that, especially a first year plot, because I am very, very anal when it comes to weeds and grasses in my clovers. It's just an issue I have, OCD bad. So I will, if I'm getting plenty moisture, I'll mow, oh heck, I'll mow my clover twice between the mature stages of each time, just to help that clover, make it healthier, get it thicker, help with the weed control, keep me from spraying any kind of herbicides on it. And it just works very well. But the only time you need to mow that clover for what we're using it for in the deer woods is when it flowers. You want to mow it to turn that protein back around and make it more digestible. That's a great question. I appreciate you asking that. Yeah, Facebook, you were saying here, but yeah, that's in a good moist area. When it comes to a drought, stuff like that, don't be mowing it in a drought. Always wait and wait till you start getting your rains come in, then you get in there and mow it. But do not mow it when it's dry in a drought. Brian's on here talking about how the deer were digging a hole through the snow last year for the honey hole all winter long. 2 years ago, 2 years, sure about that. I'll tell you what, again, I can't stress how good that honey hole mix is. It's just unbelievable, and it's so easy to grow. And when you hear me talk about it will grow in the rocks that drops out back of your truck, it will grow in the rocks. Ask David Holt, like our slam dunk, our radishes and our slam dunk. David Holder had the biggest tubular radish you ever seen growing in his parking lot at their shop. It was crazy that seed just dropped out back of the truck. The honey hole does the exact same thing. Anthony's on here. Buddy, that's good to see you on here, man. I've been waiting for your order too. Anthony's asking, do I get aggressive mowing it the first year or wait till the second year? Buddy, I'm doing it the first year. I mow more the first year than I do the second, third, fourth, fifth on through. That first year is usually when I have more of my weed and grass problems. That second year, I start getting away from them. So that first year is when I'm really watching, and this is a spring planting, not a fall planting, a spring planting of clover. I'm waiting for it to start growing. I start seeing weeds and grasses. If that clover is over 3 inches tall and I got weeds and grasses, I'm mowing it. So that's just how I am. I can't stand it. You know how I like my clover. You know I can't stand it being weedy and grassy. But yeah, no, that's the first year. I'll be more aggressive the first year than I will any year of the follow. I wish more people would mow their clover because it just makes for such a better plot, more tonnage, a lot sweeter. And anybody that mows a clover plot, and it's kind of fun watching. And a lot of people probably don't realize it when they're doing it, but if you follow your deer cameras on a clover plot and you'll start seeing the deer numbers kind of shine away and you'll start seeing them flowers coming on that clover. If you really go back and start going through some of your footage on your cameras, if you save on your laptop, whatever, like I do, and categorize them, you'll see, man, I had 20 deer. Now, next thing you know, I got 5, and I got a few deer coming in my clover. And you know it's because that plant's flowering all out. You can see it on the camera. You go in there and mow it, and the day that you mow it, that night, the deer will pile into that plot as soon as you mow it. That's kind of the tattletale sign on how important it is to mow a clover plot. Steve's asking, is honey hole palatable right away or when it's mature? When it's mature, bud. When it mature and them starches turn to sugar, that's when it's more palatable. You will get some nibbling through them earlier in the season. Not very much. It's not very palatable for them. But you get in there, especially after you get that first good heavy frost on it, them starches turn to sugar, and you'll see the palatability rate just go through the roof. All right, guys, we only got 2 more minutes left. What we got here? They're going to shut me off on here. I appreciate the show tonight, though, guys. It's been a good one. A lot of good questions, a lot of good info. I can't wait for 2 more weeks to do it again. We'll definitely get some stuff going here. I think we're going to do a little bit of giveaway next week. Or in 2 weeks, I'm sorry, in 2 weeks. We're going to do a little giveaway this here in a couple of weeks. And I'll have it on the show to show you what you're going to be winning, how we're going to win it. So definitely. And the winner has to be on that night. So let's see what we got here. Just watched Mossy Oak show that said no advantages to mowing clover and it doesn't control weeds, hogwash. Exactly. You're exactly right. Mark Coleman, cannot wait for the AK app. I hope we can get an AK app out, bud. This is something we're talking about. We're working on it, but I don't know if that's something that's really going to happen right now or not. We got so much stuff going on right now that a lot of people don't even know about. That is huge. So, but it's definitely been talked about. Let's just put it that way. But it would be great for track, yeah, like you said, tracking all your plantings, everything, all the reference guide and all that. It would be pretty cool. Brian, need to get a reminder. I'll tell you what. Yeah, I'll throw some reminders up next week, the day prior to the show, and I might even show on there what you could win too. There on that, I'll get the marketing group to doctor up a picture for me and get it on there, and we'll definitely give something away next week or in 2 weeks. I'm sorry, I apologize. In 2 weeks, so we'll definitely be doing that. But well, guys, it's getting ready to hit 9 o'clock, and they're going to throw me off here, and I don't want to be shut off before saying goodbye. You guys need anything? Well, as you can tell on the Facebook page, my phone number's on it. Call it. Give me a holler. The Antler King Food Plot Management page, my phone number is there too. Call me, email me, whatever you can. I'll help you out in any way I can. If you call and I don't answer, leave me a message because I'm telling you guys, there's been over 100 phone calls a day. So I'm on the phone a lot. So, and I still got people to call back tonight. But I'll talk to you guys later. Take care and need anything, you know where I'm at. See you guys.